What's up, guys? It's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity Build It video, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about what these road upgrades are doing to you in terms of cost and how they're affecting you early on in the game, and how to never have to upgrade them again and not have your happiness affected. So when you first start out playing the game, you're allowed to pave your roads for free, right? But as you place things, and it's not just the population. I thought so too until I started kind of messing around with it and investigating. It You can take like a small dash of road and place it far away from anybody or anything, and there's no people out there whatsoever, but the game will recognize that as, there's a building placed on it, and therefore will want it will want an upgrade on traffic eventually. Now this seems to be based on the time, and it seems to be based on the amount of items that are placed along that road, and then also population if you do have, people on that stretch of road. But just to give you guys a little bit of understanding as to how much you guys are actually paying, every one dash of road is considered to be a unit, right? So for the first one, it's free. But for the 4-lane road, you're going to pay $300 per unit. So if you think of it like one pond is one unit, right? So as you draw your road, imagine having to upgrade a road that is, let's say, 10 units long, which isn't even very far. That's only 10 spaces, right? You're already paying $3,000 for 10 units, okay? Then you know that the second upgrade is coming not far from there, and now you're paying $1,200 per unit. Then you pay $1,500 per unit, $2,000 per unit, then $2,500. You're paying $7,500 per one unit of road. That's freaking ridiculous, right? Okay, now imagine if you were to calculate up all of your money spent on roads. Okay, so let's say that you were to spend so 7,500 for those 10 units. How much are you paying? Yeah, ridiculous, huh? $75,000. So, I mean, look at it. Where's my calculator? That's not. There it is. Okay. So if you're paying $7,500 and you times that by the 10 units, that's $75,000, right? Now, how many people are going to bulldoze that road? What are the odds that you bulldoze that road? You're going to get half of that money back. Now, let's say that you take that road and you bring it up to an Omega road, right? You only get the money back. If you bulldoze it, you only get the Omega money back in half. You don't get the regular coins back. So wouldn't it be nice if you could set it up to where you never have to upgrade them again and your happiness doesn't drop? You can do that. And it's actually really easy. Now, it's a little complex, but once you get the hang of it, it's super, super easy. So before you get, the whole idea of what's going on here is that you can only have 3 roads that are red at a time, okay? So in theory, if no other roads can go red at one time, then it would stand to reason that you would want to push the traffic to roads that don't have people on them, right? And this way, these roads are red, and they're giving you that notification. But your people aren't unhappy because they're not affected by it. So how do we get 3 roads red without people on them? What do we put on them? Where do they go? What do we have to do? How do we get that 3rd red road? Okay, I'm going to show you guys a couple different designs that people in my group have done. So we'll start with CPT's because his is really, really basic. So let's see here. Where's CPT? There he is. So CPT just has the 3 little dashes, and he's just got 2 parks on each side. So what's going to happen is the first 2 roads are usually really easy to get. But the problem is there's 2 things that can kind of slow down the progression of your second and third red road. And that is the length of road that you've picked, the items that you've placed on that road, and if you're paying attention to your notifications. So this is his red road setup, okay? It's been this way for a really long time. Now, if he picks up anything on this road, it'll drop down that traffic amount and it'll take that red road away. So it's really important that you're not picking an item that you're going to be interacting with a lot, such as a shop or a service or something. Services require connection to the main stretch of road, and so you would have to connect those dashes to a larger road, which just makes things a little bit more complicated. But as long as these roads are set up in a place where you're not going to have a lot of interaction, and you know, as time goes on, once you guys get to a point where you guys are designing, there's ways that you can set them up to make them look nice, to where you're not going to see something like this on your screen because you're going to have everything blending. It will probably be something like an Eiffel Tower, maybe out as a centerpiece, and you'll surround it with like maybe a park and some trees, and that'll be your red road. And you can do that right away if you're somebody who has maybe a bigger city already and you're just doing this because you're sick of paying for roads. You know, you don't even necessarily have to be doing it on a a new city or a Missy's Building Guide city. You can do it on any city. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to pick out the layout in which you want. So as long as you have 3 roads that turn red and they don't have people on them, then your happiness will not be affected. Now, if there's a particular style of road that you like the look of more, then you'll be able to pay for that when you feel that you can afford it, for one, and you can stop at that upgrade without having to go past it. So like, for example, a lot of people really like the trees, the ones with the trees down the middle, okay? What happens is they don't do this red roads trick. The game will notify them that they need to upgrade it, and then they're forced to upgrade it and go past the upgrade in which they actually like. You won't have to do that anymore. You can pay for it if you want to, or you can never pay for it again. But there's a couple very important things that you have to realize. You need to realize that if, for any reason, that you were to pick something up on one of your 3 red roads, that all of those other roads that you've been neglecting for a long time are going to automatically, one of those is going to go straight to that. And it's going to be a pain in the butt to shift all of the traffic back to that little dash. So it's important that you pay very, very close attention to the notification that you have on your screen. So for instance, when you have this notification on your screen, you're going to locate the road that's red. Now this road is actually near houses, right? So this one being red is going to cause the happiness to drop. But what you'll see here is if I pick these houses up and I move them away from that area, see how the road notification is still there? It just means that I have to move a few more things. Sometimes moving one thing is enough, and sometimes it's not. So I move that, it's still there, so we're going to click this and see which road it is. Okay, so it's this little tiny one here. So we're going to pick that up and move it. Okay, now the road notification is gone. I didn't have to bulldoze anything, I didn't have to upgrade anything, and I was able to get that road notification to go away. So, what should we do to set up our red roads? Well, we could do any of these buildings here. So, this is my health and fire area. Anywhere in the gray zone, as long as I don't have houses near me, and they're not on that stretch of road, then I'll be okay. So, let's say that I wanted this road to go red here with this little thing here. The reason I didn't pick that one is because I'm really picky about my design and I wanted it to have the trees. But as I was explaining to you guys before, if I was to upgrade this, look at the cost. $4,000 just for that little tiny stretch, right? Now look at this one. $24,000. Okay, but it's not at the same upgrade. This is going up to a boulevard. So this one's going to a boulevard. That's 46,000 coins to pay for that upgrade. Why would you want to spend all of your coins, especially early on when you need them for services and for other things that you guys should be buying? You don't want to do that. That's why 90% of you guys can't get anywhere, because you guys are paying for road upgrades, you're paying for services 24/7 because you're buying the wrong services, because you're constantly worried about your happiness, which you shouldn't be, because the happiness, it drops the taxes, but when you think about it, the taxes that you're losing are almost nothing, because you don't get your taxes in one lump sum. You get them as you collect them. You know, you can collect them anytime throughout the day. And so the little bit of happiness that goes down from the taxes from, you know, road upgrades or from whatever's dropping your happiness is not enough to say, I want to waste $36,000 on a sewage plant or something right now when I can't afford it, rather than just taking the little bit of happiness that's went down and saying, okay, I'm going to wait until I can afford the one that is actually going to benefit me in terms of cost, and then be better off. And that's the same thing with the roads. The roads, they're not benefiting you. At some point, you're going to be designing and you're going to want to bulldoze these roads, and it's just going to cost you even more money again. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've upgraded bulldozed roads. It's just a huge waste of money, okay? So, all right, you want to set up your roads. Now, the very first thing, the first one's super, super easy, you guys. The second one is easier. Okay, but the third one is a pain in the ass. Now, here's what's going to happen. People are going to get annoyed, and they're going to start picking things up and moving things around. And if you do that, you basically are restarting that timer. So whatever you place down, get it placed down, set it down in stone, and leave it be. Now, what you're going to want to do, let's say hypothetically, okay, let's say that you did one, let's say here, and then you did one, you know, here, and let's say you did another one over here. What you don't want to do, and I had people do this, is they'll do something like this, and then they'll place the park, and they'll do, let's say like this. Okay, so see how the mansion, the driveway kind of thing, this is facing, it's facing us, so it's right, it's going the right way. If we turn it the other way, it's actually going to be on this stretch of road, right? So because there's a long stretch of road in the back, it could take longer to get this little one red, because it's technically not on that road. It's on the bigger road. So you need to pay attention to which way it's facing. Now with these parks, it can be super hard to know that. So I always recommend that you guys, if you're going to be doing like services, like let's say you're going to do your water, I recommend that you do the big road and then have one that kind of goes off to the side like this. Okay, like that. So you'll put the little water tower, you'll put it like right here, and then you'll put another one right here, and then you can put another one here and here, and then here and here, right? Now this means that it'll be on this little dash of road, and you'll be good to go. What people will do is they'll put them along the longer stretches of road. Don't do that. So the next thing here, let's say that you've got this set up. Some people, what they'll do is they'll place down their park like this, and they think that that's good enough. It's going to do you much better if you do something on each side, okay? So once you get those three there, let's say that two of them are yellow. Okay, so let's say you've got them placed out like this. Okay, so let's say you got them placed out like this, right? And you, hypothetically, let's say that this one, these two here in the front are yellow, and you're waiting for your third one to go red. First off, we need to get rid of these in the background. Let's get rid of those first, okay? Just to make sure that we got everything set up right. We don't want to move anything that we've already got placed down. So, these two are yellow, and we're waiting for the back one to go red. Now, these two are red, and we're waiting for the back one to go red. So, right now, we have another road that's already red. So that means that we have our 3 roads red, right? So this is what a lot of people have happen. They get the first 2 red, and they wait for the third one, and they don't check on their roads as frequently as they should. Because this notification is going to be here all the time, you need to check on it all the time. And what'll happen is you'll get your third red road, but it'll be somewhere else. And you didn't notice. And so that other one can never go red because you have a red road already placed somewhere else. You can only have 3, remember? So let's say that you have another red road and you want to know how to get rid of it without having to pay for it. There's 2 methods. You can either pick up whatever's on that road, like I showed you just a minute ago, or you can bulldoze it and repave it. Now note that when you bulldoze it, you don't get, all your money back. You're only going to get half of whatever you spent, and it's pretty stupid considering it shifts all your buildings, right? It's going to shift whatever buildings were on that road to the nearest street if it's within a certain vicinity. If it's kind of jumbled like this, it's not going to shift anything, and it shouldn't shift anything anywhere. I should be able to just go ahead and bulldoze this and have everything stay. But see how everything shifted in terms of direction? That's another thing. So now all these houses are going to be facing the wrong direction. So I don't really care about, most of them care about that one. But, okay, maybe I do. So yeah, that is super annoying. But anyways, that's what you would do. You can either bulldoze it or you can pick up the stuff and move it around. Now, we have another one that's red. So, let's see where that is. Now, this one's red, but it's not near any people, and it's down here, and it's by the Ferris wheel. I can leave this one because this can count for road number 1, okay? It's not going to affect my happiness at all. So that's good. So that's going to be our first red road. So then the second one, we would just have to watch for. Now, once we get our second one, this is where it gets super important that you guys pay very close attention to your road upgrades. Like I said, because if you have any other roads go red, then you're wasting your time, right? It means that every minute that goes by with that other road red, it's not counting towards your other one. So that's where I say you guys got to pay very close attention to what you got going on. Now, what'll happen is people will get frustrated and they're like, oh, it's not going red, it's taking forever. And because they're not looking around, they didn't look everywhere, and they had their third road red somewhere that was hiding, and they just didn't notice. So what they'll do is they'll start picking up stuff along the third road and automatically restart that whole timer again. Try not to do that, okay? Just leave it sit and just make sure that you check all the time to make sure that nothing else is red. Once you get all 3 red, you're it. That's it. You're done. You never have to pay for another road upgrade again, and your happiness will not be affected, okay? As long as you don't touch anything that you placed on those 3 red roads, you'll be good to go. You won't have any problems. Now, sometimes what people will do is they'll draw their roads super long. They'll draw them like this long, like this, and they'll place like a park on each side. Try to keep them as short as possible, okay? Try to make it to where do not use shops or factories. You could if you really wanted to, because they don't require a connection to the main road. But the issue with that is that you click on them, sometimes rapidly when you guys are collecting your stuff for, tasks or just picking stuff up. And if you click on it too long, like 1 second too long, and you end up picking that building up, it's going to take away that notification, okay? And there's no way to correct it. Sometimes, like, you'll think, oh, if I just hit cancel, it should be okay. No, it doesn't, okay? I know, I tried and it fucked up everything. So, just be very, very careful that you don't pick up anything along those 3 red roads. If you do, however, happen to do that, then you'll have to restart. And you'll have, I mean, not everything, of course, but basically what you'll have to do is you'll just have to go back to shifting all of the stuff in which you were doing before, checking on it to make sure that you don't have anything else red, right? And the problem with that is more than likely because you've been neglecting all of these roads for so long that you're going to be in a different position than you were before, because now you have all this traffic buildup in places where you've been neglecting because you haven't had to pay for anything. But if you never want to upgrade your roads again and you want to save a ton of money, then I highly recommend setting your roads up to never need upgraded again. Now, one of the things you can do if you're somebody who already has your city set up pretty good and you're wanting to, get it set up design-wise, what you can do is you can place it down kind of like what we have going on here with the Ferris wheel. But sometimes what I'll do is I'll put out, let's say we put out this dash, right? Okay. Now, say we put up the Eiffel Tower on one side. You can do like a park, let's say a Universal Park, like, where's that? This one here up front. And then you can put maybe some trees going around the edges of it so that you don't have to like look at the ugliness of the red road or whatever. So it's really easy to make this work with you in terms of designing. It doesn't have to be an ugly setup like CPT's. You know, it can be a beautiful setup. Something like that. And then you won't have to worry about it. You don't even have to see it, you know? And so that's something that I would recommend if you're somebody who cares about design and your city is a little bit more put together than maybe somebody who's just starting out. I highly recommend that you do this as soon as possible, especially if you're somebody who's following the Missy's Building Guide. I recommend that you guys do it, as soon as you guys can afford parks. So, like, let's say that you guys have feeders that can bring in some extra funding. Do that. Don't upgrade any roads in the meantime. You can't afford that. You're better off investing in parks and getting your roads set up to where they never need upgraded. Now, you don't always have to put a park. You can put other stuff. I haven't messed with it in terms of just landscape because I know it can take longer with the landscape items. But if you wanted to do, a casino there and then put a park on the other side or whatever, it doesn't really matter. I know that the amount of items along the road has something to do with it, but it will be enough. As long as you have something on either side, it will be enough eventually. However, one little tiny park, and so I had one girl, she had put one tiny park on one side, one tiny park on another, and it never went red for her. I don't know if it eventually would have, but it had been a while, and I said, well, try putting 2 more parks, one on each side. She did, and it went red almost immediately. So I recommend, as many items as possible, and just make sure that, you're keeping your people away from it, and you'll be good to go. Now, this is a very, very important thing to do. This isn't just like oh, that's cool. This is badass. It's going to save you a lot of money, okay? A lot of money. You got to remember that, think about like what we talked about at the beginning of the video, and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever. This is, let's see, 2, 4, 6. This is like 10 units roughly, right about here. Think about how many roads that you've upgraded at this length. And for every road that is 10 units long, it's $75,000 to go from the bottom to the top, like to your maximum upgrade on your roads without doing Omega. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Nobody should be paying that. Especially when the profits are such a pain in the butt, you know, when it comes to all the other things that are a waste of money in the game. It doesn't help when you have to pay an obscene amount for road upgrades. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded, and hopefully you guys will do better.